Hello. My pretzel rocks is not loading. What the heck? Okay, well, we'll give it a few minutes. Hey, honey bunny, my music isn't working. It won't load. Hmm. It's very, very quiet. And I need to change my commands. Okay. Spinning. There's that one. And this one. Okay, so far so good. And come on, Pretzel Rocks, what's up? Hey, Mousy Moo, I'm having. Oh, there it is. I was having trouble getting my music to load, but there it is. How are you tonight, Mousy? Resting. What's the matter with you're having trouble with your foot? So I wonder how many people are going to be around tonight. It's a holiday weekend in the U.S. Fell off your bike and sprained your ankle on Friday and been on your feet all weekend and at work today. Oh no. Oh, I hope it gets better fast. Have you been icing it or anything? Keeping it stripped, yeah. I was taught when I was in massage school. The the acronym is RICE: rest, ice, compression, and elevation for joint injuries. And I always hate icing things, but it really does help. I would so much rather put warmth on it. But after the first 24 hours, you can put warmth. Oh, Mousy says, oh yes. Is it normal for the toes to go purple? Well, that depends. Is there bruising in the ankle, and is that bruising that has spread, or is that a sign that you've been keeping the compression too tight? Those would be my two guesses. Veggie. Veggie says, well, take a drink. Time to cut them off. No, we need our toes. They help us stand up and help us walk. I once worked with a woman whose son was a pro bowler, and he was diabetic and wasn't taking care of himself, and got some nerve damage to his toes, and had ended up having to have his little toe on one foot amputated, and after that he couldn't bowl anymore because it messed up his balance. Right side of foot is very purple and foot has swelled today. Okay, while you're resting it, make sure you're elevating it, preferably over your heart, but you know, at least if you're sitting up, at least up off the floor, but above your heart if possible. And you know what I would say, if the swelling doesn't go down in another day or so, and if it's swelling, I would definitely take the compression off, put ice on it, and have it elevated, and see if that helps. Of course, I'm not a doctor. I'm not legally allowed to, give medical advice, but just as a massage therapist, those are the things that I was trained to do. And how are you tonight, Veg? Mossy says I took off the bandage when I got home. Okay. And yeah, stay off it as much as you can. Veggie said, if I wasn't in bed, I'd say vertical and breathing. Mossy said, I'll try to. Yeah, I mean, just do whatever you can. You know, the more you can rest it and keep it elevated and ice it and stuff like that, the faster it'll heal. Yeah, it seems like it's been kind of a long slog these last couple of weeks. I'd be in bed if I could. Veg. And tomorrow's supposed to be my day to not set the alarm, and I have to get up in the morning. I actually kept kind of hoping that she would text me and cancel, because we're going to work on the guild library tomorrow morning. It really, really needs to be done. We tried to do it in July, and then at the last minute, because she had called the extension office to make sure it was okay for us to come, and they didn't call her back until the day of, when she was on her way driving to pick me up, that there wasn't anybody in the office because, you know, coronavirus. But they said we could go tomorrow. There won't be anybody there, but they gave her the key code. Veggie said, okay, electric wheel in bed, comfy stream. Yeah. My electric wheel is, I think, way too heavy to take into bed with me. Now, one of those little eels in bed might work. Oh, speaking of electric wheels, I was drooling over those Daedalus, or however you say that. I was drooling over those the other day. I would say, and I think I would go for the Magpie. I'm not sure. They're both expensive. But I think one of those is a someday, if a ton of money falls in my lap and I've already done everything else I needed to do. Because there are looms and other wheels ahead of it in line. Need to use the Lundrum. Do you like your? We've probably talked about this before. As I say all the time, we've probably talked about this before. But you like your Lendrum? It seems like all the people I know who have them love them, but the one that I had an opportunity to try didn't do anything in particular for me. But I couldn't even tell you why. And it might have been the particular wheel because it was an older one and probably needed some TLC. Yeah, I need to give my Saxony some attention. I haven't spun on that baby in quite a long time. I had thought about doing some plying tonight, but then I found this a bag of purple Cordale. And again, it is not the softest Cordale I have ever experienced. So this is definitely going to be hats and mittens yarn. Although I was thinking about maybe come here, come on, out of there. I was thinking about maybe plying it with the coral reef. Because it has a little purple in it. I guess it reads more blue, but it's got some purple in it. Veggie said, I have to get the tension down, but I've been having some shoulder neck issues, probably from spindle spinning. So it's been on the back burner because I am worried about making it worse. I'm finding that I'm having to be careful how I sit when I spin and like what angle my leg is at that I'm using to treadle, because it sometimes affects the connective tissue from my foot all the way up to my shoulder. And my hip will ache and my low back will be screaming at me and my shoulder hurts and my ankle is tight and it's hell getting old. I used to be able to sit just any old way when I spun. Veggie says, spinning is pretty meditative for me, so I would do it and lose track of time. Well, yeah, I mean, look at me, sitting here spin for 4 hours on stream. And some days, chances are good that I've already spun for 3 or 4 hours. When I'm working on a big project, sometimes I just spin all day every day if I can. Now, I am surprised that with the amount of spindling that I had done recently, because what did I spun on at least one stream, maybe two on the glider, and I had been taking that with me to the weaver's cabin and spending 2 or 3 hours there. Surprised that my hand isn't screaming at me. Veggie says not thinking about what I was doing or making time for breaks. Now that has gotten a little better for me, just because in the last few years my bladder is a lot less forgiving than it used to be. So I have to take breaks or I'll pee myself. And we don't want that. I wonder where everybody is tonight. If they're maybe just because it's the holiday weekend, or everybody's recovering from the marathon yesterday. Veggie said the spindle gets slowly heavier and trying to see how long I can make it before winding it on the arms for hours kinds of adds. Yes, kind of adds up. And Veggie said probably both. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And it was busy here in town and at work today, but not as busy as yesterday. But it was weird. There were significantly fewer people because yesterday was like, I don't know even what it was like. But we had probably 5 times as many people as we have on an average Saturday. And today we had, even though it was Sunday, we had more like an average Saturday's number of people, but they spent every bit as much as the people yesterday did. So that's bizarre, which, gives one kind of an indication of how many of the people yesterday were what we call looky-loos. Oh, we're just browsing. We're waiting for our table over at the Harmony Inn. Yeah, apparently yesterday and part of today they had 2 and 3 hour waits for tables. I would not wait that long. Thank you very much. Never mind. We'll go somewhere else. Veggie says, oh, heck no. And yesterday, they had 2 parties of 20. It's like, what? Don't people like get together in the backyard for Memorial Day anymore? They have to, all go out to a restaurant where they can, spread coronavirus around to other people other than just their family and friends. Actually, they better not be spreading it around because if my husband or stepdaughter comes home with it, I am going to be really pissed off. And I'm still, it's going to be a while yet before I'm willing to go sit at a restaurant. If I want something, that I'm not making at home, I'm going to bring it home and eat it. And Veggie says, yeah, I don't know either. Hobbitses. Okay, I've got 4 ounces of this stuff. So it should just about fill the bobbin. And we'll see. It's kind of, I don't know, kind of coarse, I think. Compared to what I've been spinning. Hey, Knots and Stitches, how are you doing? That's good to hear. Been knitting washcloths all day. Well, I worked from noon to 4, and then I came home and tried to talk myself into either doing laundry or canning green beans, and did neither. Stared into space. I should have just gone and taken a nap because I really wanted to take a nap, but I felt like I should do one of those other things. But then I wound some singles off of bobbins, and because I thought I was gonna do some plying tonight, but then I found this 4 ounce package of purple Corriedale that I forgot I bought. And so I'm kind of glad I didn't just go ahead and ply stuff, because I'm thinking maybe I'll apply this against the coral reef that I was spinning. Is that what I was spinning last night? Yeah, this stuff. Whoops. It's picking up hitchhikers. Thinking maybe I will apply it against this. It'll bring out the purple more. And of course, being purple, this is more purple than it looks on the camera. Hi, Birding Mom. I found, as I was looking for all the all the bobbins that were still full from the last Tour de Fleece, and was winding singles off in preparation for doing some plying tonight. And I found a 4-ounce package of dyed Corriedale in violet from DM Fibers. And again, as I've said about all of the Corriedale so far from DM Fibers, it's more coarse than I am used to Corriedale being. And Birding Mom, your hot pink name, which I seem to recall was in honor of your hot pink hair, made me think that I saw a video on YouTube, or not YouTube, on Facebook, of a woman coloring her hair with glow in the dark hair dye. It came out like a minty green and glowed like crazy under UV light. So I wonder, like, if she sat in the sunshine and charged it and then went into a dark room, if it would glow or if it needs the UV light. And I almost had a thought that I wonder if I could pull that off. Birding Mom says a little bit rustic. That yeah, this is gonna be, hats and mittens sort of yarn, and not, anything for against more delicate skin. Veggie said, my knit group posted a get together later this month. They're we need to move forward with our lives, and I'm still debating if it's worth it. My husband is thinking I'm being too extreme, but even if we get it and get through it, there's still the long-term stuff we don't know about. I just read a really good article. One of my friends shared it with a bunch of us about a study that has figured out some stuff about this virus, and it was quite interesting. And I will see if I can find the link, and I'll post it in case any of y'all wanna see. So if anybody's interested, I thought that this was a good article, and it answers some questions because there are some really weird things that about this virus that happen to some people when they have it that people were scratching their heads about, and yeah, I was like, oh, that makes sense. But also some of the stuff they say is a little scary. But we already knew that it kills a certain percentage of people. Not all of whom have risk factors, though. There's still a lot of people saying, oh, well, it's just old people and people with these certain risk factors that die. Well, that's not true. But yeah, anyway, I thought it was a good article if anybody's interested. But yeah, there's definitely long-term heart damage, even for people who didn't have any pre-existing heart issues. In the article, I think if I remember correctly, the article addressed that and some other body systems that can experience long-term or even permanent damage. Yeah, it's no joke, but Veggie, my spin-ins, we had been having once a month spin-ins at the Weaver's Cabin, and they started doing it like 3 months ago. And I'm like, nope. It's too small a space. We typically cram a lot of people in there. And I know that most of them are not wearing masks. Birding Mom said to Veggie, I think it would depend on how they do the get together. Outdoors, proper social distance, bring your own food, etc., masks, no sharing. I'd really consider going, but minus any of that, no way. Well, yeah, and see, in my guild meets outdoors at a pavilion in a park in the summer, and I didn't go to the first meeting when they started having meetings again. I should say it's my guild too, I'm a member, but they started having meetings again. When the person that I often ride with texted me and said, pick you up at 8:45, I'm not wearing a mask. And I was like, okay, nope, I can't go. And, and I later found out that very few people are wearing masks and there's been no social distancing. Because people are doing, we always have what do they call it? A program. And, sometimes it's a, hands-on learning experience and people get, right shoulder to shoulder. And nope, not going to happen. And now the meeting, it was Wednesday. Or is it this Wednesday? First Wednesday of the month is our meeting. So yeah, it was the second. Oh yeah, I know they already did it. Was at this local small fiber mill. Well, local, it's like 20 miles from here. And the woman who owns the mill has the felt looms that you can needle felt like full sheets, and so she cards um, pretty good size bats. I think that they're like 45 by 72 or something, and then you can run it through the felt loom a couple of times and you have a sheet of thick felt. And it's cool. I used to go out there and help her for a couple of years, one night a week. Another friend and I would go out there and help her. And so I've had my fill of felt loom. And so I didn't really care that I was missing it, but I know they were all shoulder to shoulder. So that was what the meeting was. So now, from now on, the meetings for the rest of the winter will be at the County Extension Building, which is where Jen and I are going tomorrow to work on the library. And during the summer, nobody cares about the library anyway, because, we're not meeting where the library is. So, but now, people are going to want to check out books and magazines and stuff. So we had a donation, I think it was like in January or February, of like, I don't know, more than 1,000 pieces. And so at the next meeting, everybody, instead of having a program, everybody after the business meeting got to help sort and decide what we needed to keep. Yeah, it was last Wednesday. But so now, Jen and I need to put the stickers on and make the notations and all that kind of stuff, all the new stuff, and get it all in the new cabinets. And, we tried to go do that in July, but, the extension was closed because it was quarantine. So we have permission to go in and do it tomorrow. And it just needs to be done. But I'm going to talk to her about, I've been thinking that maybe I should resign as the librarian, because I don't know how long it's going to be before I'm going to go to meetings regularly or at all. Veggie said, yeah, I think it's inside the coffee shop that the group keeps trying to push to buy food and drinks from to help the coffee shop, which is fine, but masks are optional when at tables because, eating and drinking, you do have to wear one while not at a table. Yeah, and like I was saying, a little while ago, I'm not ready to go and sit and eat at a restaurant. If the tables are far apart, maybe at a table by myself. But, I'm not going out to lunch with friends or anything like that. Because eating at a restaurant is still considered one of the most risky behaviors. Knots and Stitches said, the way I look at it, if it kills me, that's the end of me, and I'm okay with that. The possible long-term effects are more scary to me and a greater incentive to avoid getting sick because I don't want to live with possible long-term complications. Yeah. And that's, that's a good way to look at it. I'd prefer not to die quite yet. There's still stuff I want to do. But, if it happens, it happens. But, in my case, we don't have insurance. And if I were to end up in the hospital on a ventilator for a week or whatever, that would leave my husband with some financial hardship. And I just as soon not get sick, not have those expenses, and especially not leave him alone and grieving with those expenses. Veggie said, right next to the coffee shop, there's a large open space that we could bring chairs and have space. And Veggie says, same, Knots and Stitches. Birding Mom said, I've been in a few restaurants. We were at 25% capacity, and midweek, 10 a.m. It's great. This weekend or Fridays, no way. Yeah, at the restaurant where Richard works, yesterday and today, they were having 2 and 3 hour waits. And these goofy people, they wait. And then they come in and wander around, all the other businesses in town. And so, which is why I had a ton of people yesterday, most of whom were like, oh, we're just looking. We're waiting for our table. Like, okay, maybe they'll come back someday and buy something. So we've picked up food and brought it home. I mean, we've been doing that the whole time. Um, but yeah, I'm just not sure I'm ready to go in and sit. Because I don't trust people. Oh, and I could tell it wasn't our regular kind of clientele this weekend too, because there were a lot of masks, noses hanging out over the top of masks, or mask pulled up so they could talk better. It's it's like, what's the matter with you people? Just wear your mask. And I've been saying the whole time, and I finally saw something that was a quote from a doctor that said it, because I hadn't heard anybody else saying it. If you have a medical condition that causes you to legitimately not be able to wear a mask, then you are vulnerable enough that you shouldn't be out in public at all, especially not without a mask. But, I've been called an idiot and a sheep and a bunch of other things for saying that. Discriminating against disabled people. I'm like, you know what? I have asthma. I have severe asthma. I wear a mask. Not a biggie. Some guy ran a marathon wearing a mask. And he's like, yeah, I didn't have any trouble breathing. There was some woman that posted a meme of herself. She spent an ungodly number of hours in labor. She has asthma, and she had a mask on the whole time. She said, I did fine. And I don't know. And I've been finding myself saying that a lot lately. I don't know. I don't know. I was talking to my sisters on group text today, and one of my sisters said something, and she said, well, I don't mean to sound like a crazy prepper, but you guys make sure you've got lots of toilet paper, and make sure you've got, and I laughed. I said, I've been a crazy prepper for most of my adult life. And so we're not, if it comes right down to it, there are going to be things that I wish I had. And we probably don't have enough toilet paper. But you know what? I've got lots and lots and lots of flannel. And I'll cut it up and we'll use that and wash it. I've cloth diapered babies. I'm not afraid to wash, family cloth, which is what the cloth diapering community calls it when the grown-ups use it. But that's the reason that I learned to can. And it's part of the reason, it's part of what fed into wanting to be able to spin and weave and sew and, be as self-sufficient as possible. because I think I've always known that there was a possibility of some sort of shit hitting the fan in my lifetime. This just isn't what I imagined. Veggie said, but I need disposables. Well, you know what? People want to use disposables, that's fine. I didn't want to. Birding Mom said, a friend of mine posted that she always wondered about birth control failures, and then this all started, and seeing how masks are being worn, she totally understood. Yep. Because people can't be bothered. You know, I'm surprised that there's not more HIV amongst straight people than there is. Because, well, and I get in my generation, people are like, you know, screw condoms. I'm not going to wear it. I think the generations following behind me have taken that a little more seriously in general. You know, and I think that depending on how long this virus hangs around, that it's going to be the younger generations that are going to be like, well, of course you wear a mask when you might possibly maybe be sick but still have to go out. Of course you will. Duh. Because I was thinking about how when seatbelts first became mandatory, people acted exactly the same way they're acting now about masks. Oh, this is a violation of my rights. You can't make me wear a seatbelt. And now, you know, what's it been, 30 years? 35 years, something like that. People wear seatbelts. Duh. Of course you wear a seatbelt. You know, and I think it just takes a while to burn through people's... It needs to just be, you know, it needs enough time to become normal. You know, seatbelts became normal. Condoms became normal. Masks will become normal. Birding Mom says over 40. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to remember because I lived in Michigan, and I think I was working at Girl Scout camp, so I was an undergraduate. So like maybe early 80s. So yeah, that's right about 40 years ago. Crap, how did I get to be this old? I lived through a lot of good music though. Knots and Stitches said now people wear seatbelts and kids are in car seats almost till age 10. Yeah. And when I was a kid, you didn't use car seats. You can carry the baby on your lap. Or lay him on the seat next to you while you're driving if you're in the car alone. My mom had these little plastic baby seats that, you know, you could like prop it up on the kitchen table while you were doing dishes or, you know, whatever. But you could seatbelt it into the car, assuming you had seatbelts, or just set it on the front seat with you. And I think now about how amazingly dangerous that was. And the thought that, you know, kids who are like almost teenagers still being in car seats, that would not have flown when I was growing up, or even when I was a teenager or a young adult. Veggie says, yo dog, I heard you like seats, so we got these seats for your seats so you can seat while you seat. Yeah, I grew up with rotary dial phones, you know. and three TV channels. And sometimes your dad would say, okay, why don't you go over there and stand next to the TV and put your hand on the rabbit ears? Because the show wouldn't come in, and he was basically telling you he needed an antenna extender. We had 3 channels, 3 VHF channels, and a UHF channel. And the UHF channel was generally public television. And that was like until I was in college. Even, when I was an undergraduate, most people didn't have cable. Most people just had, the 3 channels plus public television and rabbit ears. Birding Mom said ours had them standard in 68, but it was a national law in 84. That sounds about right. I remember when seatbelts first were introduced, and you could buy them and install them into your car, into your existing car. And my grandfather bought these fancy dancy ones that rolled up. They didn't roll up very well, but they rolled up. The rest of them, just laid on the seat. And so I don't remember when that would have been. So maybe like 66 or 67. And then the next car my parents bought had them factory installed. Knots and Stitches said, and where I'm at, kids aren't even allowed to be in the front seat till they turn 14. Wow. Well, and that's a really good thing. It's safer. Veggie says, my husband has a friend who technically should be in a car seat when she drives. Yeah, I had a massage client who was very tiny. And she was told that she should have her airbag disengaged because it would kill her. Veggie said, I remember when the age limit in the front seat happened, or at least was new to me. Yeah, now see, I wasn't aware of it, but, it's like we never have kids in the car. Richard's youngest is 19. So, and she didn't spend any time with us at all for probably 7 or 8 years before she moved back here last year. Veggie said, ended the sibling front seat fighting for a few years. Well, that's a good point. Birding Mom says, the seat, that comfortable naga hide, yeah, you'd still feel your thighs burning as you sat down. Yeah, my mom had these waffly seat cover things that, they weren't attached to the seat. You just sort of set it on the seat and then you sat on it. But they weren't comfortable either. And they left this weird print on the back of your legs. And then, once you had burnt the back of your legs to a crisp, then you get out of the car and you're stuck to the naga hide. Oh, God. We had a living room chair that was upholstered in naga hide. That would have been in the late 60s or early 70s. When did they start making car seats out of fabric? Trying to remember. I think the first car I had that had fabric seats was a 94? '92? It was early to mid 90s. And every car I had before that had some sort of fake vinyl or another. Birding Mom said kids don't know how good they have it nowadays. Shakes Kane. Yeah, and get out of my yard while you're at it. Actually, we don't have a front yard. And the backyard is fenced in, so I don't ever have to worry about yelling at people to get out of my yard. Veggie said, ugh, vinyl seating is hot in the hot. Yeah. Yep. Knots and Stitches said I had an 85 Plymouth Reliant when I was a teen, and that had fabric seats. Huh. Maybe it was, well, yeah, my cars were all used, so maybe mine were just all older than that. Huh. Oh no, actually, I had a 76 Ford LTD for a long time. And now that I'm thinking about that, that had vinyl seats. Or, I mean, that had fabric seats. But that was kind of, when it was new, it was kind of a luxury car. Entry level luxury, not hardcore luxury. Actually, Richard and I had cars for quite a while that had leather seats, and I got kind of used to that. The car we have now has cloth seats. So what are all y'all doing tonight? You working on anything or just hanging out? Probably mitts and mittens. Maybe hat. We'll see. And it may soften up. Socks. It may soften up after it's been washed. So we'll. Oh, the other thing I make out of this is the mason jar cozies, and I sold one of those today. Knots and stitches and knitting washcloths. Oh, right, that's right. We talked about that story of my life. Oh yeah, we talked about that, didn't we? Veggies listening to the wheel and hanging out. Might get socks when hubby is done streaming. Birdie Mom's working on socks. Treasure box socks. Hermione or waffles or... Wait, wasn't there a third one? I can't remember. Birding Mom, have you been dyeing any wool yet, any yarn yet? Knots and Stitches says 9 more after this one, and all of the family Christmas gifts will be done. Woohoo! Birdie Mom says my fancy one. Turn to the heel on the first one. Nice. Burning Mom said, no, I can't find my mask. Had to order a new one. Oh no! I had to stay up way too late last night because I forgot that I told my boss I would bring her 2 masks with cats on them and one with pink flamingos. And I had cut out a bunch of stuff over the weekend, but I had not sewn any. So I sewed some masks so I could take them into work, and I made some chicken masks and some cosmic, I don't know what, bright colors, sort of cosmic thing. And I was very low on adult masks at work, so I made a bunch of those, but I need to make more kids masks because the kids masks are getting kind of picked over. It's like all of the good prints are gone. It's like everything that's left is all the same. Bookworm Lover said, I love this purple. Cool. Well, on my monitor it's not quite accurate. It's more of a red violet, and I think on my monitor it looks kind of blue violet. I don't know why it is that digital cameras have so much trouble with purples. Bookworm Lover said, yeah, that's more correct. More plus than red. More blue than red. Yeah. But it's weird. In the light where I'm sitting, this roving almost is, it's almost like it is the more blue violet, but it's got like a sheen of the red violet. I don't know how to explain it exactly. Um, Knots and Stitches says, it looks royal blue to me, so I assume it's a rich royal purple. Yeah, royal purple would be a really apt description. Bookworm Lover asks, how much have you spun this time in part 2, and how much did you spin in part 1? Boy, in part 1, I don't remember. I've been sort of I don't know if I've been a rebel or if I've been lazy. I have spun this time. I spun this, which is called Autumn Leaves, and I spun this, which is, it's got some teal in it. The camera's not really picking up the teal, which was called Coral Reef, and I'm thinking I might ply these two together, but we'll see. And then last night I spun this Targhee, and these are all 4-ounce portions. And then I had spun some of this on the on my glider Turkish, the medium glider Turkish spindle. So that's the first turtle, and it weighs about an ounce. And I had 5 ounces of somewhat gradient. Was from Fravjo, however you say that, fibers, and it is superwash merino, bamboo, and nylon, and it's lovely. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it. Maybe a shawl. Robin says, good morning to everyone. Good morning, Robin. And look at the bunnies. Those are very cute. Very cute. I love bunnies. I used to have bunnies. I'd like to have bunnies again. But I need to make sure I'm gonna be in good enough health to be able to take care of them every day. Bookworm Lover says all of the yarn looks gorgeous. Well, thank you. None of that is plied yet except for the red, the Turkish turtle, because I did that ply on the fly, so it's 3-ply. And Birdie Mom says, hey, Robin and Bookworm. And more bunnies. And you have more. Oh, those are so cute. Bookworm Lover said, I agree that blue hue would look nice applied with this. Totally my color palette. And then says, hi, Birding Mom. How has your day been? Yeah, that's a very favorable color palette for me, too. I think in the first section of Tour de Fleece this year, I spun a lot of much finer yarn. So um, not as many bobbins full. This time I'm spinning more like worsted and Aran weight by the time they're 2-ply. Birding Mom said, I did good today, had a relaxing Sunday. Robin said, yesterday I came home from holiday. Ooh, where did you go? Birding Mom asked, how was your day? Bookworm Lover said, with getting a severe drop in temps Tuesday, my mom and I are going to make potato soup. Yum, comfort food. Ooh, that sounds good. Robin said, I had 4 days and 3 nights on Lake Balaton. Was that correct? In Hungary. That sounds lovely. Hungary's biggest lake. Bookworm Lover said, I love going on family camping trips, only we don't actually camp, we lounge in a cabin. I have not camped in a long time, and I really like camping. Um, there were a couple of years where a friend and I stayed in a pretty nice little cabin when at a campground when we went to Maryland Sheep and Wool. But then the next couple of years after that, we couldn't get, we didn't reserve it soon enough, and it wasn't available. So we had to stay in a hotel. Darn, but the hotel had continental breakfast, so that was good. I actually like tent camping, but I don't get up and down off of the ground very well anymore, so I need a relatively tall air mattress. Veggie said, I just looked up the painted tiger thanks to Rogue. So pretty. Yeah, she I don't know if she still does. She used to hang out in the what was it called? Love to Die group on Ravelry, so I've seen a lot of her stuff. It was either that or the Yarnies group, I can't remember. Although I went to search for some information that I knew I had seen on the Yarnies group several years ago, and that group appears to be pretty dead anymore. And the Yarnies was a group for indie dyers who were, I can't remember what the details were, but had some sort of an affiliation with Ravelry where like their yarn was listed. or like people could link to their yarn from their project pages and that sort of thing. Bookworm Lover said, since I live in the Rocky Mountains, I love going up and waking up to birds singing, fresh air scented with pine, and going on hikes and fishing and drinking tea early in the morning, reading a book by lakeside. Ah, perfect. Yeah, I used to do that kind of stuff in my youth as a while ago. I would love to still do that. I am not as mobile as I once was. Robin said, yesterday evening I played House Flipper. I made my 2 kitchen and 2 bedroom because it's a twin house. Like, do you mean a duplex? Like what we would call a duplex? Like 1 building but 2 units? Veggie says, Bookworm, I'm coming over, lol. Robin said the 2 of them almost the same but opposite. Okay. Birding Mom said, I got women's camping gear designed to fit our bodies with extra padding in the hips, etc. I got an air mattress pad and sleeping bag. I can tent camp and feel like I'm sleeping in my bed. Nice. Yeah, back in the day, I remember when I could sleep right on the ground. That would not be happening now. Not if I was planning on being able to walk at all the next day. Bookworm Lovers said, one summer we went to see family in Oregon, and we stayed in a timeshare and we were right on the bay. We had a balcony that you could wake up and watch the boats come in and out. I mean, right over the marina. That was a vacation I'd love to do again. Love the ocean too. Hashtag eat all the crab and shrimp. Bookworm Lover said to Veggie, sure, bring your knitting and you can help me learn to knit. We'll have a blast. Well, and we've been fantasizing here for a while about at some point when it's safe to travel and be around people again, having some sort of a meetup. So we have to decide where we would do that. And I need plenty of time to save up the funds for the travel. Knots and Stitches says, I have knit 71 washcloths since the beginning of July. Holy cow, Batman. That's a lot of washcloths. Bookworm Lover said, congrats, you have 71 days. You don't have to wash a cloth. Alley Cat's Corner says, hey. And says to Knots and Stitches, we are on the same track. And Knots and Stitches, so like everybody in your extended family gets one? And if so, that's a lot of extended family. Or how does this work? Alley Cat's Corner said, I have knit 72 of 136 dish rags. Holy cow, you guys. I think I'm doing well if I did. I think I did 10. Well, they washcloths. I mean, same thing, but I knitted them with the intent for them to be washcloths for a gift. And yeah, I thought I was doing pretty good knitting 10. Knots and Stitches said, only needing 9 more to reach goal is an achievement. Each household is getting a set of 4. Okay. That's cool. I like that. I liked to gift hand-woven dish towels, but I haven't woven any this year. So, I better get cracking or nobody's getting dish towels. Bookworm Lover said you won't have to wash any for a year if you do 365, lol. Knots and Stitches says, so 80 washcloths is 20 gifts. Boy, and I'm just thinking it's September already, and I haven't thought about Christmas gifts at all. Birding Mom said, I remember when I was a gift knitter. Now it's just for me. Yeah, I don't very often knit gifts anymore. I did those washcloths, but that was because this person had a new apartment. Um, I said the last, God, I don't know, last 5 or 6 years, I've given hand woven dish towels, but like I said, I haven't woven any this year, so I don't have enough, and I need to get cracking. Bookworm Lover said, how much different is the setup for applying from spinning? It's basically just you go in the opposite. So instead of going this way, I would go that way. But I typically ply on another wheel I have that has a larger bobbin, because even though 4 ounces will fit on here as singles, they typically won't fit once they're plied because there's more airspace. So I have another. Well, I have another wheel that has a bigger bobbin, and my e-spinner, my electric spinner, also has a bigger bobbin. So I typically use one of those for plying. And especially if I'm gonna ply this with the coral reef, because that's like 2, 4, so that's a total of 8 ounces of singles. So I need a lot bigger bobbin to hold it all, unless I divide it in half. Alley Cat's Corner said, I am giving them in sets of 12 with some left over for me, 1 for each month. I started out wanting to do 24, but decided that was crazy. Yeah, that's a lot of knitted washcloths. Knots and Stitches said, I have a drawer I've been throwing the leftover bits of yarn into from each color. I will have a rainbow of washcloths made from leftovers. That's cool. Bookworm Lover said, that would be a great time to make yourself a lapgan to remember who you gifted what yarn to. Reggie said, Birding Mom, sounds good. I'll be over in 5 minutes. Bookworm Lover said, my next project on my list to do are a few shawls, a lap gan, and either a velvet pillow or slippers and hat, mitten, scarf combo. Veggie said, oops. Oh, she said oops to blah, blah, blah. Words. Why are words so hard? Veggie says typing is hard too. Veggie says, well, must be time for socks. Well, Birding Mom laughs at all of us. Bookworm Lover said, I'm a bit obsessed with blankets. My ideal world would be me surrounded by fluffy softness. I hear ya. I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scrappy sock yarn blankets going. One of which is for me. Well, maybe 2 of them are for me. Burning Mom says, I was all crap. What did I say that she wants to come over? Bookworm Lover said, cool, blankets never go wrong. I have some blankets I need to weave as well. Well, throws actually, like 45 inches wide by about 72 inches long. Veggie says, just let me in, Birding Mom. And Bookworm Lover says, that sounds awesome. Every once in a while, when I have some sock yarn leftovers, I pull those out and work on them on stream. Veggie said, I have floofs and ice cream. Ice cream sounds good. I've not had ice cream in a while. Burning Mom says, LOL, you can help me polish off the donuts I bought. Have 1 or 2 for me. I haven't had donuts in a long time. Bookworm Lover asks, do you have shell chocolate sauce to put over your ice cream? And then says, oh my God, I'm coming. You know, you can make your own chocolate shell stuff from coconut oil and chocolate chips. Melt them together. And because the coconut oil has such a high melting point, When the liquid syrup comes into contact with the cold ice cream, it shells. That's fun. Veggie says, I make magic shell sauce. Do you make it the way I just said? I don't remember what the proportions are, though. And Veggie says, I was going to say that. Melt some chocolate and add coconut. Do you use specific proportions or just until it looks right? Birding Mom says, Tacoma is donut country. Those shops and teriyaki joints are everywhere. There's a place in Pittsburgh called Peace, Love, and Little Donuts. And they have all these wild flavors of these just, little donuts, but you don't have any I can eat. Bookworm Lover says, I've been craving a good Boston cream donut. I will do that now. And Veggie says, just until it looks right. There is, if you are ever in Western Pennsylvania, now I wouldn't normally recommend going to Beaver Falls. We used to live there. I wouldn't recommend going there. But they have this donut shop called Oram's, ORAM apostrophe S, that has the most amazing filled donuts. And they have some interest. They have like key lime pie flavor filling, and they do a buttercream filled that's really good. But it's more the pastry that I don't know how they make it, but oh my God, that's better. It's better than Punchkis, and that's saying something. It's a secret family recipe, apparently. But yeah, if you're ever in Western Pennsylvania, it's worth a side trip to Beaver Falls to get Orm's Donuts. Veggie said, more chocolate than there is coconut oil. I don't think you need much. I think you're right. And I haven't made it in several years. And so I don't remember specifically. But enough coconut oil so that the sauce is pourable on a warm day. Bookworm Lover said, oh, you are making my mouth salivate. I need to bake tomorrow now. Yeah, I need to bake too. It's going to be time to bake Christmas cookies soon. We're in the Burr months, as they say. And, it may only be September, but as fast as my life is whizzing past, it'll definitely be time to bake Christmas cookies soon. Knots and Stitches said 95 degrees Monday, similar on Tuesday, and then 72 on Wednesday. High temperatures for the next 3 days. Ugh. What's it supposed to be? I think it got up to 79 today. It's been cold at night, though. $62 right now. Well, crap. High of 82 Monday, 89 Tuesday, and 90 on Wednesday, and then down into the high 70s the rest of the week. So what the heck? Knots and Stitches says Dallas Fort Worth area. Birdie Mom says another Texan. Yeah, we've got Texans here. That might very well be the best represented state. Bookworm Lover said tomorrow 99, Tuesday 34 for high. What? $99 one day and $34 the next? Holy cow. Colorado. Knots and Stitches says cold front. I guess. Bookworm Lover said we're getting the heat wave from the west. Birding Mom said we have a heat wave on the west coast. California is being hit hard with 100 plus. Here in Washington, it's high 80s. Birding Mom said, yeah, Colorado is supposed to get snow. And Bookworm Lover said, and then the cold front from the north. Yikes. So I imagine you're going to get some wind. It always gets really windy here when there's a front moving through. Birding Mom said Colorado is always windy because of the mountains. Bookworm Lover said, and hail. Ugh. Bookworm Lover said, if you're on the plains. Well, are plains windy? I mean, anywhere that is? See, the only places I've lived that were consistently windy or where have been the times when I've lived on the water, on the ocean or on big lakes or whatever. Hey Sid, thanks for the raid. Hello Raiders, 10 people coming in. Birding Mom said, yeah, it comes off the Rockies and whoosh. Bookworm Lover said, or in some of the valleys. Raid! Thanks for doing that shout out, Veggie. Hey, y'all. Yeah, we're spinning. Working on Tour de Fleece Part 2. Since the riders are actually riding now. We did Tour de Fleece during the time when normally the Tour de France bicycle race would be held. And then now that they postponed the race, but we did the fiber event anyway. But now that they're actually riding, now some of us are doing it again. Because, Knots and Stitches said the planes have nothing to act as a windbreak. Yeah, that makes sense. And valleys act like wind tunnels. I can see that. Birdie Mom says, be right back, Demando Cats. Alrighty, well, say hi to the kitties for me. So, Raiders, what are y'all up to tonight? And how was your stream, Sid? What were y'all doing? MDJ was here, says, oh, what? Is that a foot-powered thread weave thingy, what you call it? It is a spinning wheel operated by a foot treadle. Most hand spinning is done on foot-powered wheels. Sid says, we just finished up working on some music. Cool. Very cool. MDJ was here, says that's awesome. And thank you for the follow. So some of us spin because knitting wasn't weird enough. So I'll be spinning mostly while we're doing this Tour de Fleece 2.0 thing. Sometimes I knit on stream. We've been talking about some weaving, if I can figure out the logistics of getting the camera aimed at the loom and still be able to see chat. MDJ was here, says, where do you find these folks, Sid? Knots and Stitches said, I like the explanation of why we spin. Yeah. Oh, you mean because knitting wasn't weird enough? I actually, most of the time, prefer spinning to knitting. And I actually learned how to spin because I was learning to weave, and weaving yarn was expensive, and I could spin the yarn cheaper. That's not really the case so much anymore. Because I was learning to weave and to spin when I was an undergraduate in the late 70s. Because yes, I'm that old. But it was, so most of my spinning in the early years was intended to be woven. And it wasn't until sometime later that it dawned on me that if I plied the yarn, meaning that you twist two strands together in the opposite direction, that I could knit with it as well. But I would say that most spinners in the U.S. spin for knitting. Although weaving has a lot of people have developed an interest in weaving in the last few years. Probably because there are all these spinners that have way more yarn than they could knit in their lifetime, so they learn to weave because weaving uses up the yarn faster. Sid says to MDJ, I've been working hard to find unique Twitch channels. There are a lot of unique Twitch channels. And then says, since mine is kind of unique. Knots and Stitches said, gotta be as weird as possible. Yeah, gotta stick together. Sid said the Ouroboros. Beast Fremont said, back in school in Illinois, actually got to see quite a bit of spinning and weaving. Very cool. Where in Illinois? I went to kindergarten in Winthrop Harbor, Illinois, which hardly anybody, even in Illinois, has ever heard of. Veggie said, yeah, that's why we learned to weave, not because of the dangerous fiber arts rabbit hole. Yeah, y'all be careful. Somebody here might shove you down the rabbit hole. Beast Fremont said Chicago suburbs in the 90s. Okay, well, my stepfather was stationed at Great Lakes at the naval base. And we lived north of Chicago, right on the lake, north of Waukegan, about a half a mile from the Wisconsin line. And it was actually closer for my mom to go to Kenosha to grocery shop than it was to grocery shop anywhere in Illinois. Is that Latui? Is that correct? Oh, Lord, last thing I need is yet another hobby. Yeah, I hear myself say that pretty frequently. MDJ said, what's going on with the photo gallery? Do you have a loom too? I have several looms and a bunch of wheels. I personally have a 45-inch wide Scandinavian built vintage loom with 4 harnesses. I have a 24-inch wide antique table loom, also 4 harnesses, and I have a 15-inch shocked cricket or shacked, depending on who you ask, cricket rigid heddle loom. And I right now have a 26-inch wide 8 harness baby wolf that I've borrowed from my Spinners and Weavers Guild. And then I volunteer at a historic program that we call the Weavers Cabin in the little town where I live. And there are bunches of looms there that I have access to as well. And currently I have 1, 2, 3, 4 spinning wheels and a whole lot of other smaller spinning devices. Bookworm Lover said there's body painting, chess online, sewing, even computer keyboard building channels on Twitch. Yeah, and if you need some ASMR, there are channels where you can watch unattended 3D printers doing their thing. Veggie said, oh yeah, we'll push you. Knots and Stitches said, if you ever get a chance, go watch I always say his name wrong, Looney Loomworks. He weaves on a 1920s Union loom that has been passed down through his family. Yeah, he's got a couple of looms, and he's got a bunch of cameras aimed all over in his weaving room. So you get to see, a lot of what's going on. I have one camera. I'm a relatively new streamer. I started streaming in the end of February. Lee Twee. Okay. More or less how you say okay. Lee Twee. I will try to remember that. I apologize in advance. I suck at names. And my long-term memory is amazing. My short-term memory is not so good. So I'll probably ask you the same questions over and over and over until it gets in my long-term memory. Beast Fremont said, "Oh, nice knots. I heard about the old jeans looms that were removed from the last big American denim factory. I've been really interested in those old looms and where they ended up." Yeah. Veggie said one would call it an heirloom. Ha 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 ha. Okay, what just oh, okay. Thank you for the follow, Lee Twee. I was like, I just saw emojis explode on the screen and I couldn't figure out what happened. Knots and Stitches said his setup has simplified since May. I have not seen him on much. But that could be because my schedule has not really allowed me to, spend all day every day on Twitch watching people like I was doing during quarantine. Veggie said, follow took a sec to update. It did. And holy cow, Batman, you know what? You guys might have bumped me over 300. Let me... 301. Holy cow, you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. Veggie says 300 of us. Woohoo! Hype. Yeah, I need to get some emotes made. I haven't had a chance to talk to the person whose father volunteered her. I need to message her and see if she's really interested. Beast Fremont said apparently a lot of those denim looms ended up in Japan, and they learned that the old bouncy floorboards from the old factory were an essential aspect of the fabric. Huh. Birdie Mom says back, got ice cream as a reward. And you deserve a reward. I want some ice cream. My stepdaughter's got ice cream in the freezer, but she always gets flavors that I am not allowed to have. And she'd be like, do you want some ice? Oh, never mind. Because she gets flavors that are poison to me. I actually had a wild thought that I have an ice cream maker, and I wondered how hard it would be to make Italian ice. Apparently it's easy. Water, lemon juice, and sugar. So I need to do that. I need to find that recipe again and make some. Beast said, when installed on concrete floors in Japan, the resulting fabric lost its magic. Huh. That's very interesting. I'll have to search and see if I can find some stuff to read online about that. Knots and Stitches said he took almost 6 weeks off from streaming when his other half... Oh, his other half got COVID. It has only been the past couple of weeks I've seen him. Well, that would be why I hadn't seen him. I hadn't heard that. I hope she's okay. Bookworm Lover said must need wood panels or something for the floors. Or yeah, like build a wooden false floor for them to sit on so it gives. MDJ said, where did you even learn that? That's wild. Knots and Stitches, I can't have anything that has any kind of wheat or wheat byproducts in it. So I usually just avoid anything that doesn't say it's gluten-free. Because while I'm not sensitive to gluten, avoiding gluten is the easiest way to avoid wheat. So, and my stepdaughter likes things with like, cookie crumbs and things in them. Birding Mom said it's very easy, or sorbet. The sweet pea chef has. Yes, you had mentioned the sweet pea chef, and I bookmarked that. And there are some absolutely yummy looking sorbet recipes. And I would imagine sorbet would be almost as easy as the Italian ice. I don't remember specifically what was in them, because there's not any dairy in sorbet, is there? I think this sorbet might have more sugar than the Italian ice, but I'd have to look. Beast said, I'm a bit of a clothes nerd. Read an article about the factory. It was the last big Levi's plant, and a few others. It was significantly downgraded, apparently. Veggie said, I told my husband about the Japanese looms, and he said, that's a looming regret, LOL. Oh, he's very punny. My husband's like that too. And sometimes he'll say something, and he'll look so proud of himself, and I'll be like, you've been saving that one for a long time to find the perfect opportunity, haven't you? It's like, mm-hmm. Bookworm Lover said, I had a cantaloupe gelato one time, and normal ice cream flavors are nothing in comparison. There used to be a really good gelato place in the next little town over. Coffee and gelato, they were amazing. But the building next door had a fire and took them with it, and they didn't rebuild. Birding Mom said, yeah, I remember when Levi's left San Francisco. It was a big loss. Bookworm Lover said, very refreshing in the summer. See, I'd like to make sorbet. Well, if we ever get any peaches off our tree, I'd like to make fresh peach sorbet. B said Japanese denim makers were looking for American denim looms and learned that they needed to get vintage original looms to make the high quality that Japanese denim is known for. I wonder why. I'll have to research and see what was specific about those looms. Because the Japanese have been amazing weavers for a very, very long time. Birding Mom says, Sweet Pea Chef has a cantaloupe sorbet recipe. And I'm not a huge cantaloupe fan, but I had cantaloupe melon-flavored popsicles once. There were cantaloupe ones and honeydew ones. Although to me, those taste the same. But I liked the popsicles, so maybe I would like the sorbet too. B said they really tried to make it as genuine as possible. Okay. Veggie said Talenti mango is so good. Yes, it is. But Talenti has gotten to be kind of hard to find around here. And if you can find it, they have like 3 flavors, and none of them are ones I can have. Birding Mom said, I'm having Talenti mint chip tonight. My favorite Talenti gelato flavor is the sea salt caramel. And then my second favorite is the mango sorbet. When I lived in northern Michigan, I guess it's not just Michigan anymore. There is a grapefruit flavored pop or soda, depending on where you live, called Squirt. And there was a company up there that made squirt sorbet, and it was so good. And the only other flavor they made was Traverse City cherry, and it was very good too. But that was like 25 years ago, so I have no idea whether that company still exists or not. B says from Americana fashion to even hip hop and lowrider culture, they'll import American cars just to convert into lowriders. Wow. Bookworm Lover says Tillamook has great stuff. And B said Tillamook makes the best damn cheese. There was a specialty grocery here that carried Tillamook cheese, about which my husband, being from the Pacific Northwest, was very excited. But that store closed, and I have not found it anywhere else. Since that I can confirm on the cheese. Okay, so how many of y'all are in the Pacific Northwest? I know Birding Mom is. My husband grew up in North Bend, Washington. North Bend and crap. I can't remember the name of the other town. Snoqualmie. DJ said Minnesota boy here. I've spent a significant amount of time in the Twin Cities in the past. And I've been to St. Cloud a few times. But mostly I've been around in the Twin Cities. Yes, Birding Mom, I know where you are. B says they sell it in the deli section of big chain grocery stores here in Las Vegas. Yeah, well that's not that far from being regional. You know, I'm all the way over here on the other side of the continent. Veggie said I fourth of the Tillamook. Bookworm Lover said I got to try a specialty ice cream one time. I went there and tried Marionberry cheesecake ice cream to die for. That sounds amazing. B said I spent my teens in Wisconsin, Midwest love. Yeah, I like Wisconsin. I love Wisconsin and Minnesota. I could have moved there instead of well, I lived in northern Michigan for a very long time. And I love the Great Lakes states. But then I met my husband, and he lived in western Pennsylvania, so this is where I ended up. But he's originally from the Seattle area. He moved out here just a couple of years before I met him. If he had still been in the Pacific Northwest, I don't know if we ever would have been a thing in real life. Because, you know, I could drive here in 9 hours from where I was. You're driving to Seattle to meet some stranger I met on the internet would have been probably not the thing I would have done. There is, I don't know if you're familiar with Wilson, Wisconsin. It's just before you get to Minneapolis. So it's just barely still in Wisconsin on the west side. A little town, and right off the whatever that highway is that you take going into the Twin Cities. And there is the Katie Cheese Factory, or Katie Cheese Shop, I can't remember. Katie something, cheese something, in Wilson, Wisconsin, and we used to always stop there and get curds. I never bought any of the actual cheese, but we'd buy pounds and pounds and pounds, and they'd like scoop it into a bag, and you could have flavor sprinkles on it. You know, like the stuff they sprinkle on popcorn or or potato chips or whatever. So you could have like French onion on your cheese curds or barbecue or all these different flavors. So then we'd eat them, although it was like a 12-hour drive back to northern Michigan where I lived, and we'd eat cheese curds the whole way. Because you got to eat them while they still squeak, If you save them till the next day, they don't squeak anymore. And then what's the fun? Veggie said, to be cheese, my heart is always in the Pacific Northwest, or at least part of it. Bookworm Lover said, my heart will always be in Colorado. Veggie said, there's a little piece in Colorado too, but that's it. MDJ says, is that near Hudson, Wisconsin? I'm familiar with the area. You know what? I don't know. And I don't remember what highway it was. I know we would, because I was in Traverse City, Michigan, which is like the tip of the little finger. If this is your map of Michigan, I can never see where the heck is the camera? If that's your map of Michigan, the tip of the little finger is Traverse City. My family is all like down here in the middle. My family lives very near Flint. You've probably all heard of Flint, Michigan. I lived at the tip of the little finger, and we would drive north and cross the Mackinac Bridge, which crosses the Straits of Mackinac and connects the lower and the upper peninsula. And then we would drive across the upper peninsula, and then across northern Wisconsin through where like all the ginseng farms are. And then, hit Katy or hit Wilson and get cheese curds, and then go into the Twin Cities. I haven't been to Wisconsin or Minnesota I've been here for 20 years now, so it's been that long. But so a big piece of my heart's in Michigan. There's also a chunk of my heart in Norfolk, Virginia. We lived there most of the while I was growing up. My stepfather was stationed there from the time I was 2 until I was 4. And then we went to Great Lakes, so I was in Illinois from when I was 4 until 6. And then we went back to Norfolk, and we were there from the time I was 6 until I was 13. And then we went back to Michigan, and that's where I stayed until I was 40. And then I came here. And we own a house here, so I feel kind of planted. Although my sisters are always... Well, my sisters and several friends are always pestering me to come back to Michigan. And I said, if the apocalypse hits here in such a way that we can't live here, then we'll probably go back to Michigan. Because Richard's family my husband's family is all in the Seattle area, and in the middle of an apocalypse, that's pretty darn far to try to get. Beast says the curd squeak. That's right. And people here don't understand that, because you can't really get. Every once in a while I find like in the deli case in a grocery store, I'll find like a little container of cheese curds. But they, they don't squeak. They're not fresh enough. And, so you can't get poutine here. Although, mostly only Canadians know about poutine. Sid says, God, I love cheese curds. Yes. Mousy says, oh dear, I fell asleep. Well, that's probably good. It sounds like you've needed the rest. Bookworm Lover said, I have to go to bed. Quit making me hungry. Sorry. Lee Twee says, I'm Canadian. We understand the curds must squeak. What part of Canada? B said, we had a smokes poutine in Vegas for about a year. It was divine. Mmm. Calgary, Alberta. I have not ever been to Western Canada. My husband has. He has relatives in Vancouver, BC. But I've been quite a bit to Ontario and Quebec when I lived in Michigan. When I was in high school, my humanities teacher would always take a bunch of students on a trip to Stratford, Ontario to the Shakespeare Festival, and we'd go and see plays and stuff. And that was cool. I could live in Canada if they'd take me. I lived in northern Michigan long enough. I speak Canadian. Although I've lost so much of my northern Michigan accent. But at least I don't sound like I'm from Pittsburgh. There was just an article I read online that Pittsburgh's accent it was found to be one of the least sexy in the United States. Texas was considered the most sexy. And I was like, yeah, I can understand that Pittsburgh's accent wouldn't be attractive. Yeah, Texas. Knots and Stitches says you sound northern to me. Not as northern as I used to sound. Although I've been spending a lot of time on the phone phone, that was pretty round, wasn't it? I've been spending a lot of time on the phone with a friend in Grand Rapids. So, and it's so weird because 20 years ago, I never thought that he had an accent. And now I'm listening to him talk thinking, yep, you got an accent. Veggie says, we sexy. B said, Georgia maybe, but Texas? I always liked Virginia's accent, which I had for much of my young life. Bookworm said, nah, you still have it. Anyone who knows Northerners can hear it, and if you were to go up, you'd get it right. I would, but at the same time, if I went to Norfolk, I'd get that Southern. The only thing I retained from my Southern accent is y'all. I still say y'all fairly frequently. But if I went and, if I'm around an accent, I pick it up. When I was in college, especially when I lived in the dorm, I had a lot of friends from the Upper Peninsula. And they have a very northern accent. But they're mostly of Scandinavian descent, Norwegian mostly. And the more they would drink, the more Norwegian they would sound. So if I drank with them, I'd start sounding like I'd pick it up so fast. But the things that I've noticed that I've lost is like in Michigan, and maybe the other Great Lakes states as well, but in Michigan for sure, the part of the house that's on the top is the roof. And here it's a roof. And I've lost that. So I hear myself say roof. And a state highway in Michigan is called a route. And here it's called a route. And the things that grow into the ground underneath the plants in Michigan are roots. And here they're roots. So, I hear myself using the wrong word all the time. And my O's aren't as round. When the first couple of years I lived here, people would always ask me if I was Canadian. I'm like, no, just from northern Michigan. But I do speak Canadian, eh? Oh, I don't say A at the end of sentences like I used to. But I'd pick all that back up in a minute. Bookworm Lover said, never New York accent. Nah. But yeah, everybody's got an accent. I've heard it said that the Pacific Northwest has the least accent. And what I think they mean by that is that people from the Pacific Northwest are the easiest for everybody else in the country to understand. Because, people from some parts of the country have difficulty understanding people from other parts of the country. MDJ says, I'm told I have a thick Minnesota accent. I don't hear it though. I think I sound just like Sven and Oli on the TV, so I don't know what they're... I had a roommate just for a couple of years just before I met my husband who had grown up in St. Paul. And we were watching... Okay, what just happened? Thank you for the Hollow Daisies, Wrath. Thank you very much. We were watching, we had rented, what the heck was it? Fargo? About the guy who sets up the guys to like fake kidnap his wife, and it all goes inside out and upside down. And I'd be laughing so hard. Somebody would say, one of the characters would say something, and my roommate would be like, I don't talk like that, and I'd be like, yeah, you do. And I loved that how they played on, where the cop who was doing the investigation would ask somebody she was interviewing because the one kidnapper, people would always describe him as being funny looking. And she'd be like, well, funny looking how? And they'd be like, oh, just funny looking in a general sort of way. And I was like, because this roommate, she was awesome at seeing the big picture. But don't ever ask her for details. And I thought, maybe that's a cultural thing. So I laughed so hard. Oh, funny looking in a general sort of way. And and I love Sven and Oli. There's a guy that I've been seeing in videos on Facebook. I think it's called the Manitowoc Minute, and he does a really hardcore Wisconsin thing, and I just giggle all the way through those. It's like, yeah, I know people who talk like that. I probably at one time in my life talked like that. It's only a 4-ounce bobbin, but it's getting pretty full. It looks bigger, I think, because of the depth of field from the camera. It makes the bobbin look bigger and the wheel look smaller. Litwi says, it's usually a privileged thing when people say someone has no accent or their accent is neutral. It's usually the accent of the privileged class. To some extent, I think that's probably true, but it depends. It depends where you are. I think it often also implies advanced education, which could also be associated with privilege. Because a lot of times people are told that in their particular career path, it would behoove them to lose the uniqueness of their accent in order to sound more professional. Litwi says the Fargo TV series was filmed near Calgary, Alberta. I didn't know there was a TV series. Was it based on the movie? That'd be cool. I might have to go on a hunt. Yeah, someday when it's safe to travel again, I need to go visit all these places that I haven't been in a long time. Lee Twee says, same universe as the movie, different events. Okay. Yeah, it still might be fun. I watch enough of it, I'll start sounding like I'm from Minnesota, eh? Just confuse the heck out of the customers and where I work. And we get some tourists, not a ton of tourists, but we'll get people who will drive up who are in Pittsburgh on business or whatever, and they'll drive up to see the little historic district, and so I'll be like, "So, what part of Wisconsin are you from?" And they'll be like, "How did you know we were from Wisconsin?" It's like, "Cuz I know." Bookworm Lover says, "Gotta go to bed. Night." Good night. Good night, Bookworm Lover. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Sleep well, get good rest, and we'll see you soon. Veggie said it's soda, not pop, soda pop, or Coke. It's pop. Unfortunately, it's pop here as well, so I didn't have to relearn all that baloney. Veggie says, I will die on the soda hill. When I lived in Virginia as a child, it was soda. It was, everything was soda. Apparently at some point after I left, it changed and now everything is Coke. Daisy Rath said, so interesting to hear the American culture as someone from New Zealand. If Veggie or if Mousy Moo is still in here, she's still here. She might have fallen back to sleep though. She's also from New Zealand. So welcome, hanging out with a bunch of American, well, speaking for myself, weirdos. The rest of you can claim that title or not, as you choose. Knots and Stitches says soda or Coke. Knots and Stitches, are you the one that is from Michigan but transplanted into Ohio? Somebody was telling me that the other day, and now I don't remember who it was. Because, there's that short-term memory thing. Lee Twee says, it's pop where I'm from. Varies wildly across the continent. Mousy said, did I hear New Zealand? Yes, you did. Daisy Rath, who's hanging out in here, is in New Zealand. Or from New Zealand, I should say. Daisy Rath says, haha, where I'm from, it's called fizzy drink. Knots and Stitches says Texas born and raised. Texan born and raised. Well, now, who the heck was that? Ugh, I can never remember. Mousy says, oh, okay, cool. Whereabouts? Daisy Rath. Yeah, Lee Twee says to Daisy Rath, that's perfectly descriptive. It is. It is a fizzy drink. Birdie Mom says, San Francisco, California girl escaped to the Pacific Northwest. How long have you been in the Northwest, Birdie Mom? I don't remember if I've ever asked you that. And housemate's girlfriend is from San Jose. And I always spent a significant amount of time in San Francisco because, all the cool cultural stuff was there. Daisy Rast said Auckland based. To Mousy, how about you? Birdie Mom says move 2016 newbie. Well, not too much of a newbie. When I lived in Traverse City, Michigan, where we called the tourist fudgies because everybody has to buy fudge. As you know, all the tourists have to buy fudge. So in the Traverse City area and on Mackinac Island, tourists are called fudgies. So when you move there, you're a fudgie for the first year. And then, but you never become a local or a townie. After a year, then you're considered permafudge. So I'm not sure what the equivalent would be in Tacoma. And Mousy is in South Auckland. Am I saying that right? Do you pronounce it Auckland? That's how I hear people here pronounce it, but I don't know if that would be correct. Veggie says, Texas born, Alaska raised, but now you're back in Texas, correct? What part of Alaska did you grow up in? Mousy says yes. Okay, thank you. When I was just finishing grad school, there were jobs in my field available in both Fairbanks and Anchorage. And I seriously considered applying for both of them. But I knew that it was for the Girl Scouts. I knew they weren't going to pay the travel expenses for the interviews, and I couldn't do it. I was poor. Birdie Mom says, I prefer the Irish term blow in. Because you've blown in from somewhere else, I presume. Veggie says, Anchorage. My mom was transferred in the military. Cool. Someday I would like to visit Alaska. I thought that it would be cool to take the train across Canada. Isn't there a trans-Canadian train trip you can do? You know, take the train across Canada and then hop over to Alaska. Veggie, would that be Air Force? Trying to think what branch would be in Anchorage. So that means you're a brat, right? I joined a Facebook group a year or so ago. Oh geez, maybe longer than that now. That's for brats. Knots and Stitches said maybe Navy. So I joined this group for brats because somebody said, "Oh, it feels like I found home," and blah blah blah. Because no brats never fit in. Never feel like they fit in anywhere as adults. And I thought, oh, well, So I joined this group. But mostly it's people who grew up stationed overseas. So there's like a lot of people who lived in Germany and Italy and Japan and stuff. We were always stateside. In the Navy most of the time, the family stays stateside. But through that group, I found another group called I Grew Up in Norfolk. And that group has been awesome. And it makes me so homesick. And it's so weird. I can get like on Google Maps, on Street View, and like tootle around the neighborhoods where I grew up. And it's so weird because I can smell it. And I think what I'm smelling is the ocean. Well, the bay. We lived on the Chesapeake Bay. But it's weird. Mousy says, "Be right back. Need a drink." But yeah, I was a Navy brat. Birding Mom said, "No, Tahoe has a specific pine scent. I thought it was just high alpine, but Rainier doesn't smell like that." I always want to say Rainier. Rainier doesn't smell like, So I understand the smelling thing. Yeah. Birding Mom said, "I see color differences between places." Yeah, I do that too. And light. The quality of the light is different in different places. I think, depending on like what parallel you're on. Knots and Stitches said, "My sister married a sailor. He retired at the beginning of this year." My family always thought I would marry a sailor. I never did. Had I gone back, I had considered going back to Norfolk for college, and like going to William and not. Well, yeah, I would have liked to have gone to William and Mary. Speaking of privilege, I would have probably gone to Old Dominion, but then I ended up going to Central Michigan University instead. But had I returned to Virginia after high school, the chances that I would have married a sailor would have increased dramatically. Just because there are a lot of them there. There aren't a lot of sailors in Michigan. Birding Mom says Tasmania was golds, oranges, and khaki from the eucalyptus. The sit glowed with those colors at sunset or late afternoon. Yeah, that's so cool. Knots and Stitches. My nephew grew up here, Norfolk, Biloxi, San Diego, and Florida. My stepfather tried to get stationed in. Well, every time he was up to for a transfer, he would always put in for San Diego first, and then Norfolk, and then some other who knows where. And given the option, the Navy was like, "Oh, you're willing to stay?" He's like so the first two choices are either move you and your family all the way across the continent, or just leave you here. So they opted to just leave him there. So we were in Norfolk a really long time. In terms of the length of time military families usually stay in one place. Birdie Mom says the air, auto carrot, and Mousy Moo is back. Next time one of you guys gets up, would you bring me some ice cream? That'd be great. Mossy says, Mom ate all of ours. Sorry, LOL. Mousy, how's your young man doing? Did y'all's schools open? Is he in school? I can't remember how old he is. I think he's old enough to be in school, but I'm not sure. Mossy says he's doing good. Yep, he's been back for 2 weeks now. My stepdaughter started Wednesday this week. They started online, and so she did school Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And then I guess next Wednesday she's going to be going to school physically 2 days a week and then 3 online. And she's only going physically because she has some learning disabilities and has an IEP, which is like a plan that the professionals all work out together with the teachers. And so to best help her with the stuff she needs the most help with, she needs to physically, she's a wreck trying to do school online. So far, so good. She's really excited because she's taking Latin. And she passed her algebra last semester, so her math is all done. And I'm not sure what she's taking that she still needs. I don't remember what credits she said. But she has enough time in her schedule to be able to take some electives, so she was hoping this year to take some art, and she only needs this semester, but she's gonna probably go through the whole year, because she's like, think of all the electives I could take. So she wants to take some art stuff and some music stuff, and is very excited to take Latin and wants to take some French as well. So I think, and she doesn't know a lot of people here yet. So I think that, she knows the people at work and a few people because she had only started at the school here in February. And then in March, they canceled school. Crafty Kate is raiding with a party of 4. Welcome, Raiders. Hey, Crafty Kate. Thank you for the raid, and how are you doing tonight? And what were y'all doing? And Veggie, thank you for posting that shout out for Crafty Kate. Welcome, Raiders! A variety today. And you're welcome for the shout out. Today and probably for the foreseeable future. My knee is starting to get sore. I am spinning because we're doing Tour de Fleece 2.0, which I think goes on for 3 weeks, and this is the beginning of the second week. Have to stretch that leg out. Oh. Crafty Kate said I made a divider for my kids learning from home space, made an autumn wreath, and started making jammies. Well, that all sounds like fun. Like I said, mostly spinning lately. Although this weekend I made some masks because my boss asked me to make masks for sale at the gallery, to sell at the gallery where I work part-time on the weekends. And we were getting low of some of the sizes, so I whipped up some masks over the weekend so I could take them in today and get them in inventory. And I've been knitting a ton of socks and spinning. And it's the time of year when I realized that I should have been working on inventory all summer long, because I sell a lot of knitted and woven things, mostly made from hand spun yarn. And this time, as soon as the weather starts to give any sign that it's thinking about being fall, I like panic. It's like, oh man, I should have been making stuff all summer. And I sort of was, but I've been knitting a lot of socks for myself, so that cuts into my inventory production time quite a bit. Knots and Stitches says, okay, it's bedtime. Okay, Knots and Stitches, we'll see you. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Have a really good night. Sleep well and get good rest and all that kind of stuff. And thanks for hanging out with us. Crafty Kate said, I just started learning how to crochet and I weave. I enjoy watching spinning. What kind of things do you weave? I love weaving. And I need to do some weaving. And Birding Mom says night. Crafty Kate says baby wraps is what got me into it, but I am going to try making a kilt eventually. Oh, cool. I wove a tartan when I was an undergraduate for a friend of mine. He marched in a drum and bugle corps that I don't think they exist anymore, called the Kilties, who were out of Racine, Wisconsin. And they wore the Loud McLeod, the modern McLeod tartan, the one that's yellow and red and black. And I wove a throw for him in that tartan and had no idea what I was doing, but I ended up doing it, had the set correct and everything. So that's the closest I've ever gotten to a kilt. I had thought about doing baby wraps. But then, all the legislation landed on top of it. And, I don't know if I I don't know if I have the energy to jump through all the legal hoops at this point and then, build up a clientele and all that. So I just keep doing the same stuff I've been doing. I weave a lot of scarves and shawls and wraps and dish towel, not baby wraps, but like Mobius wraps and Ruanas and that sort of thing. Lots and lots of dish towels, although no dish towels this year. All this quarantine and stuff threw me off. But so do you still weave baby wraps? And if you do get around to weaving a kilt eventually, do you have a particular tartan in mind? Crafty Kate says, I do, yes. I am just very slow with the 3 little ones around all the time. Yeah, I can understand that. It's hard enough trying to weave with just a cat. Because, she wants to help. And I also, a lot of shawls, partly because I'm the weaver on my Spinners and Weavers Guild's Sheep to Shawl team. Although we didn't get to do any of that this year at all because everything got canceled. It says, my husband's tartan is the Ayrshire district. I'll see if I can do that one to make a kilt for my sons. That would be so cool. And maybe a tartan for my daughter too. That'd be very cool. Yeah, I love tartans. Crafty Kate says it would be easier to weave than what is currently on the loom, though. The repeat is every 80 passes. Oh, man. I have this app on my phone called I Weave It. And you can plug in, and I paid extra for the treadling tracker. And you just set it for how many ends you want to, or picks you want to weave, and then you tap it and it gives you the next however many. So I usually set it for depending on what the pattern is, 4 or 6, and then repeat. Because people talk to me and then I have no idea where I was. But with that, I'm never more than a few rows from where I need to be, and it's easier to figure out. So 80 rows. Wow. Are you weaving on 4 shafts or 8 or more? I was following a couple of wrap weavers on Facebook for a while, and it seemed like the trend was to go towards more and more and more and more shafts. It's like, holy cow. It says, yeah, I highlighted every other group of 4 and then counted them 1 through 20 so I don't stop until I do those 20 sequences. That makes sense. And then says, I have 4 shafts. Yeah, I have 4 shafts of my own, but I can borrow 8 shafts or rent, as the case may be. It's borrowed right now. I have the guild's, one of the guild's 8 shaft baby wolves, because we use it for sheep to shawl competitions and demonstrations. But everything got canceled. So it's sitting here at my house unused. Eventually somebody's going to ask for it back. I should open it up and weave a few things on it. I need to get an 8 shaft loom, and I will probably get a baby wolf just because they are so portable, and I don't have room for another bigger loom because my 4 shaft loom is 45 inches and that takes up a lot of space. She says, I could share a link if you wanted to see the current project. I'd love to see. Go right ahead and share a link. And clicking. Oh, that's pretty. That's pretty complex. And I'm going to follow if that's okay. Is that a decal on your beater? My first thought was, oh wow, that was like custom engraved on there. And then I thought, oh, maybe that's a decal. That looks cool. That is lovely. Thank you for sharing. It's dark green. I should I have a silhouette cutter. I should do that to my loom. That's a very awesome idea. It's just, thank you for letting me share. That isn't even my Crafty Kate Instagram. Well, you can share that one too if you want. Okay, we've got about another 45 minutes. We'll see if I can finish this. This 4 ounces. Crafty Kate said it's not related to fiber crafts. I do mostly polymer clay stuffs on there. Well, that's fine. You still feel free to share it if you want. I like polymer clay. I used to, like a decade ago, make a lot of 12th scale food in polymer clay, like dollhouse food. And at some point, I saw a squirrel and haven't done any polymer clay since then. Alrighty, clicking. Oh, very cool. Very nice. And followed. Well, you are very welcome. Well, you know what? There's room for all of us here. I know some people get, all kind of hung up in their streams and don't want anybody to even mention if they stream. I figure, you know what? This is a community, and I'm here for the community. And I'm not jealous of other people's streams. And I don't care if people mention their own discords and their own streams and whatever, because the reason I'm an affiliate is because other people came and said, hey, we want to help you become affiliate, and so we're gonna hang out in your stream and stuff like that. Mousy Mousy kept bringing people in and helped me get the followers I needed and stuff. And now, as of tonight, I have 300 followers. Woohoo! Thanks to y'all. Birding Mom said, as long as people aren't abusing the links or promos, I don't see the issue that other streamers have. Me either. And I will leave. I will not moderate people's ability to share links unless somebody causes a problem, and so far nobody has. And for whatever reason, I really haven't had any trouble with trolls. Nobody posting anything inappropriate. And almost everybody, well, no, I guess everybody has asked before if it was okay before they've shared links. Hey, Snyder Spindles, how are you? I almost, let me find it. I almost worked on this tonight instead of the wheel. And here's the previous turtle on my medium. We talk about your spindles in here all the time. So you guys, all of you spinners, why thank you. I've only recently started trying to make them pretty. I used to just wind it on any old way. So any of you who are spinners, check out Snyder Spindles. He makes the most amazing Turkish spindles. And I especially like the gliders. I've got a couple of these in different sizes. Veggie, if you're still here, would you do a shout out for Snyder Spindles? Birding Mom says, hey, Snyder Spindles, have your ears been burning? We talked about your stuff last week. Yeah, and on Bum and Maid's stream too, because she has several. Actually, she talked about how she's in the process of acquiring a whole army of little teeny tiny Turkish spindles. Well, hello there, horror guy. Says, hello, I heard your words. I am in my position, for I am accepting and supportive person. I support, I get half of it back usually, and I usually tear up when people support, for I never had that as a child or as a teen. Birding Mom says, Bauman Maid is our spindle girl. That she is. I spin on the wheel if I want yarn now. I spin on spindles if I want to enjoy the process. And I learned to spin on drop spindles first. And when I teach, I have people start on a drop spindle, because I figure that allows you to figure out what your hands are doing, and you get some kinesthetic memory in your fingers about what drafting feels like before you have to start thinking about treadling at the same time. So then once someone has the drafting part down, then we move on to the wheel. But yeah, horror guy, like you said, I just think this, well, in the fiber community here is very different from the gaming community and some of the other communities. It is very much a community, and everybody is really supportive, and that's why I started streaming. Because my fiber community in real life, not everybody is supportive. Veggie said, whoa, is that a Snyder? Yes, it is. Could I get you to drop a shout out? Horror guy says, and I am happy for you like I am happy for those I care. Sorry for talking style today. Had a car crash with a bike today. So hope you don't mind. Well, are you okay? I hope it wasn't too serious. Veggie said, yes, you can. So much can, LOL. Alrighty. Everybody go check out Snyder Spindles, who sometimes streams. And check out his website and his Etsy shop. And check out all the cool spindles and things. Veggie said, my fingers are too fast, apparently. Birding Mom says, ouch, is everything all right? And Veggie agrees. Horror guy says, a little bit in shock, as you can see by my unusual typing. Well, take care of yourself, young man. He says, but since I have mental problems, my shocks are short but sharp. I patched my elbows and my left palm before coming here. So far just like cuts and scrapes. Although you may be stiff and sore tomorrow. That often happens when there's impact. Snyder Spindles ask, what fiber are you spinning? This is some dyed Corriedale from Dormouse Fibers, DM Fibers, that my yarn shop carries. It's their colors are beautiful, but I'm finding that their Corriedale is a little less soft than most of the Corriedale I usually use. But it's beautiful. It spins very nicely. And I usually end up using it like for mittens. It'd be great for socks. Mittens and fingerless mitts. It's a good sturdy yarn. And it is quite a bit more red violet than it looks on camera. And I think now I've spun all of my available dyed roving and need to wash some fleeces. Horror Guy said, and I have no money for the hospital or mental institute, so can't do that. Well, impact, rolling, and sliding on surfaces called concrete and asphalt. So yeah, you're gonna probably be sore tomorrow. Drink lots of water. That'd be my recommendation. Drink lots of water. And maybe a nice warm bath or shower. That's my mom recommendation, or grandma recommendation, as the case may be. So he says, so short answer, more and bumps and bruises. Yeah. Well, but I mean, I'm glad you're okay. I mean, it sucks and it probably hurts, but could have been so much worse. And how's the bike? Is the bike okay or is it a mess? He says, and I bled a lot. I might try shower today and probably change my patches. Bike is a bit mangled on the horns and the pins was still drivable. Well, at least that's good. Not good that it's mangled, but good that it was still drivable. Okay, we've got about a half an hour. I think we can finish this roving. Veggie. Thanks, Veg. Snyder Spindle says, your wheel has the same chatter as my Elizabeth. Such a relaxing sound. Yeah, I think that's an Ashford thing. And this wheel, it had a really bad clunk for a while because I got this one in 1987, so it fell in that time period where the traditionals and the traditionals and what is this one, travelers, developed a clunky wheel. It has something to do with the hole in the axle that the pin fit through. And I got the clunky wheel kit that they made and swapped all the parts out, and the drive wheel was quiet for a while after that, but now it's getting a little bit of a clunk again. But yeah, I love the chatter of the bobbin and the flyer. Veggie said it's how she subdues us into staying. Look, it's Grandma! Has just resubscribed. Holy cow, has it been 6 months? Wow. Thank you so much. 6 glorious months. How are you tonight, ma'am? 6 months. Grandma was my first subscriber. Yep, check out Look It's Grandma. She is so much fun to watch her play games. Just rolled over and woke up. Well, I'm glad that I didn't end early tonight then. I have to get up in the morning. I mean, not excruciatingly early. I'm getting picked up at 10. And Monday is usually my day that I don't have to set the alarm, so I'm a little sad. But we're going to work on the guild library, and it really needs to be done, so. Crafty Kate said, all right, I got to head to bed now. Have yourself a lovely evening. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. It was fun chatting. Have a good night. Sleep well. Rest well. Hopefully we'll see you again sometime. So how are you liking the new job, Grandma? Much better than the old job, I hope. And Nutty Valerie says, good morning. Good morning, Nutty Valerie. And thank you for the follow. Thank you so much. So tonight, y'all have pushed me just over 300 followers. And see, I keep still thinking I'm a noob, but then, Grandma goes and resubs for the 6th month. So I guess I'm not as new as I thought I was. So, we're just working on the Tour de Fleece, doing some more spinning, talking about all kinds of stuff. Thank you. This is an Ashford Traveler from 1987 with Scotch tension and a single treadle because that's the way they came then. And it has, I have a bunch of wheels, but this one has always kind of been my standby. It's just the one that gets used the most versatile, the one that gets used the most. I am very happy with it. As Snyder Spindle says, you need a few backup wheels. That's right. A wheel for every occasion. There are still more wheels on my bucket list, though. Mousy says, is that with the turny knob? This turny knob? Or I guess you can't see my turny knobs. Snyder Spindle said, I'm not allowed to get any more. Well, there starts being an issue with space. And between the wheels and the looms, I have to negotiate with my household. It's like, where are you? And my husband's like, oh, yeah, yeah, we'll make room. We'll find room. Our housemate is more like, and where do you think you're going to put that? Veggie says, a wheel for every outfit, just about. And Grandma says, it's mesmerizing. Words. Mesmerizing to watch. I like to watch people spin, and I like the sound of a spinning wheel too. And different wheels, different types of wheels, have different sounds. But most of them, there's at the very least like a whirring, whir from the flyer arms cutting through the air. Nutty Valerie says to Snyder Spindles, I received your spindle a few weeks back and it works beautifully for my plying. Oh, I was snooping around on the website. No, actually, it came across my Facebook yesterday. The plying spindle. I was like, oh, fine. Now I need one of those too. Both of my gliders are, so I have a medium and a mini, small, whatever the smallest glider is. I don't have the standard larger one yet because my yarn shop didn't have any of that size left. Nutty Valerie said, was the one sent to the Netherlands. Oh, Mousy says the tension. Well, underneath here is the one that makes the mother of all tilt to adjust the drive band, and then the one down here adjusts the tension on the little piece of fish line that tensions the bobbin. Birding Mom says, declare yourself a wheel museum and apply for funding. Hey, that sounds like a plan. Horror Guy says, the wheel looks the most portable I've seen anyone actually use, so that is a plus in my book. Well, that's why they call this one the Traveler. It's pretty portable. And it's got places that are, it doesn't have any handles, but it has places that are easy to grab onto to carry. But to be honest, my Merlin Tree Road Bug is the most portable of my wheels. It's every bit as heavy as any of my other wheels, but it's very compact and has a handle. And so it's, and people around my town are used to, seems like, oh, there she goes. Carrying a spinning, because I carry spinning wheels all over the place. Because I live in a really itty bitty town so I can walk everywhere I need to go. And I just carry a wheel. It's like, oh, I'm going to be demonstrating here or there or wherever. Veggie said, we definitely don't talk about your spindles all the time. No. Mousy said, oh yes, that one. Veggie said to Birding Mom, I like the way you think. Mousy said, yep, my Traveler is awesome. Mousy, is your Traveler Scotch tension, or do you have a double drive or double treadles, or because yours are a lot more recent than my poor old baby here. Poor old dear. I think she's in her 30s now. I'd have to do math, and I'm too tired, so I won't do the math. Snyder Spindle says, I thought I'd sell more, and I don't know how to pronounce this, recalf spindles to the Netherlands, ... MDJ says, I'm going to call it a night. Lovely stream. See you soon. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for the follow. Hopefully we'll see you again soon. Veggie said, oh my god, my typing, LOL. Yeah, oh my god, my talking, LOL. Horror Guy said, we had one smaller version of the Traveler, usually self-made, used by vagrants and tramps, that had a van. Mousy said, yep, Scotch tension. I like Scotch tension for most things. My Scholar, my Ashford Scholar, has Irish tension, which is bobbin drive. The drive band drives the bobbin, and then the brake is on the flyer. So it like a Louette wheel, Louet, however you say that. Um, and I like that for some things. And then I like my double drive on my Saxony for I like the double drive for spinning really fine yarn on the wheel. And for spinning things that need a pretty tight twist like Angora, silk, slippery things. But for just your basic, everyday, general knitting yarn, I love this wheel. There's a lot that I like about the Roadbug too. But, and I like that the Ashford bobbins fit the Roadbug, even though it's, a Merlin tree wheel. Birding Mom said, LOL, Veggie. I'm close to seeing if I can become a yarn museum or archive. Yeah. Yeah, and I could possibly become a fiber library too. I've acquired a lot of books over the years. Nutty Valerie says to Snyder Spindles, they are really pretty too, but ... budget. Yeah, there's that. I really like the cutouts too. But before I can get one, I need to decide if I want cats or bunnies. I'll probably eventually end up with both, but there's not the budget for it right this minute. Mousy said, oh yes, that's like the Kiwi. The Scholar, yes. The Scholar was original. First they had the Scholar. And for the first few years, it was Irish tension. But I think that it resembled the Louet too much, because after a couple of years, they changed it and made it Scotch tension. And then they quit making it all together, and now the Kiwi is now considered their student wheel. But what I like about, I have the original Scholar. They call it the Scholar Make 1. And it has much larger bobbins. I think it's approximately an 8-ounce bobbin. Okay, there's this much left. So, shouldn't be any problem as long as I keep spinning. I have a tendency when I'm looking at chat and being all talky that I stop whatever I'm doing. Veggie says, quick, distract. Bother. What hook are we on? Let's move to this hook. Birding Mom says, okay, I'm off to bed. Night all. Take care and stay safe. Have a good night, Birding Mom. Good sleep and good rest and all that shenanigans. And thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you very soon. And Mousie's off to knitting. We'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow night, I think we're going to, well, unless I stumble across something else that wants to be spun in my house, we'll probably be doing some plying tomorrow night. And I'm all off my schedule from having streamed last night. For anybody who wasn't here, the Twitch Tour de Fleece 2000 team did a 24-hour raid train where we started 1 minute after midnight, and different people took 3-hour slots. And even though I typically don't stream on Saturdays because I work on the weekends, I took the 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. Eastern time in the U.S. And it was fun. It was weird that I was the only one that didn't have somebody to raid afterwards, but and I noticed that most of those people aren't here tonight. It's like, where is everybody? Although it is a holiday weekend in the U.S. also. So some people maybe are not staying up late tonight because they have stuff to do tomorrow. Like me, I have stuff to do in the morning. So I can't stay up and fart around until 5 o'clock in the morning like I usually do to get off stream and go to bed. Nutty Valerie said, sorry, I may have missed you after passing out. I was with the first member. Yeah, I was the last one, so it was probably in the middle of the night where you are. Veggie says, yeah, where's that troublemaker Bauman? Yeah. No sign of Fiber Mage tonight either. Nutty Valerie says correct, but I still tried to support everyone. Well, and we appreciate that. We were talking last night, those of us who were still up, that it was a lot of fun and we should do that again. Maybe do it again repeatedly because it was fun. And Veggie says, yeah, and Fiber Mage, all those peeps. Veggie says, yes, more spinning trains at least once a month. I might be willing to participate that often. As long as... Because I could do a Saturday from time to time, as long as it's not my usual streaming time. The 9 until midnight worked. I still was able to get, well, not enough sleep, but as much as I usually get on the weekend. Look at Grandma said, love supporting the fiber community as it's the nicest Twitch community. I think so too. And I'm really glad I stumbled upon it. I was like, look, makers and crafting category? Oh my God, she's spinning. Because I only knew Twitch as a gaming platform, and I would come watch my friends play games and never really explored the site until I think it was like December or January. So last night, I caught Grandma playing World of Warcraft. Were you playing the beta? I think you were playing the beta. I haven't played in so long, I don't even, know what the current gameplay looks like. It's like I have no idea where you are. We keep saying that we're gonna we're going to play, and then I never managed to find time to do it. My husband and my stepdaughter even said they'd come back and play if we all played Classic together. So we had been talking about that months ago, and it still hasn't happened. My grandma says that was an accidental stream. Hit wrong key on stream deck. Yeah, and then the housemate had wandered out here right about the time that you hit the fart button. And he's like, "Was that her?" I said, "No, it was the stream deck." Grandma is a very fun streamer. I especially enjoy watching her play Sims. Although, the whatever that game was where the guy was trapped underground, that was kind of a fun game to watch too. And Grandma said, "I just play what I'm feeling." Veggie says, "The longing." Yeah, that was it, wasn't it? Okay, that's the end of that roving. And just almost exactly on time. It's 2:59. Ugh. I have to go to bed. So let's see. If we do a raid, I'm gonna have to raid and run. So we could do the wildlife cam if you guys want to raid, or I could just let AutoHost pick up anything that might be available. Does anybody care? Now, my computer says right now it's 3 a.m. 3 a.m. at my house. And I have to, like, my alarm's going to go off at 8:30. And I'm already sleep deprived because I always am on the weekends. So Tuesday, maybe I don't have, oh man, either Tuesday or Wednesday I have to go pick up my new glasses. So I might end up having to set the alarm every day this week. Look, it's Grandma says, "Not was good to see you." Good to see you too, Grandma. And yes, thanks for the follow, Snyder Spindles. That's very exciting. Natty Valerie says, "The shame every day of the week." Yeah, but I'm like semi-retired. I only work 3 days a week. I shouldn't have to set the alarm at all except for those 3 days. But I do because there are these things I have to do. Sometimes I think I'm busier now than I was when I worked full time. And sleep. I never sleep enough. I'm always sleep deprived. And that's really, really, really bad. Is bad. Being sleep deprived is really bad for your health. It can lead to all kinds of scary things. So yeah, if I don't have to set the alarm, that's a good thing. Yes, all the stuff to do. Alrighty. Well, then I am just gonna go. Thank you, you guys, so much. Thanks for all the follows tonight. That was awesome. And um, thank you all you guys for hanging out and for being such an amazing and awesome community. And I love you guys. And don't make me cry, okay? Because I've been doing that a lot lately. All the cat videos have been making me cry. Love you. And you know what, Grandma, you're when we keep talking about do it someday when it's safe to travel again, doing some kind of a meetup, and you'll be invited. Even if you don't spin, you can bring your knitting because you knit, right? And we'll have coffee. So, so you guys all have a good night or a good day if it's daytime where you are, and I'll be back. Hey, Grandma's coffee and Danish. Yeah, if I can have a wheat-free Danish, we'll be good. I'll be back tomorrow night about 11 p.m. Eastern Time in the U.S. until about this same time, and probably be plying. I've got a lot of plying to catch up on from all the spinning last week, so it's still Tour de Fleece. I think that silly thing, however long the Tour de France lasts, which is I think it's like 3 weeks. So anyway, see you all later.